hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. So I'm doing something a little bit different in terms of both this video and the setup, in that I'm sitting on my floor because I was tired of sitting in my chair, and that too I'm doing a tagged video that I was actually tagged in. So this is the book tropes, or the nope trope tag. I was tagged by Samantha, and I'm going to go ahead and link her in my description, as well as the people that I'm going to tag at the end of this video. But we are going to jump right into this tag. So the first prompt is Eavesdropping and Miscommunication, a book you heard great things about but ended up hating. This has to go to Again But Better by Christine Riccio. I had an arc of this last year when it came out, and I read it so quickly. Like, I read it in like 2 days, and everybody was talking about it. It was like the buzz book of YouTube, and it was because a booktuber had written it. Credit will be given where credit is due. A huge congratulations to her in terms of using this platform to promote her book and like actually write a book and have it come out. But it just sucked. It felt like a fan fiction to me. It wasn't very good, and I don't know, it wasn't realistic in any way. And like, yeah, there are some magical elements to it that's cool, that's great and all, but the story itself didn't feel very realistic, and it felt very shallow, and I absolutely hated it. Sorry. The next is Love Triangles, a series where you can't pick your favorite book. If you guys know me, you know what trilogy I'm about to hold up. It's the Caraval trilogy by Stephanie Garber, starting with Caraval, and then Legendary, and then Finale. I love this series. I have tabbed the living crap out of it. I love these books so much, and I love this story, and I haven't reread it since Finale came out, actually. And honestly, it's one of my favorite series because of how quick it is to go through, and just how much fun the world really is, how whimsical and magical it is. And I adore this book. I adore this book series, and they're all like children to me. I can't pick a favorite, but Jax is still my favorite character. Thank you. The next prompt is Not Like Other Girls, a book that has a pretty cover but was boring as hell. If you know me at all, you know that this will go to The Gilded Wolves, which I tried reading last year and I did not like it. I just couldn't get with the story. I've since unhauled it, obviously, which is why you're seeing the image of the book here. I tried to listen to it and follow along, and I have a reading vlog where I literally sit there and I'm like, I couldn't tell you what this symbol means because this book was just, it's so bland. And it was like pitched as like Six of Crows and a heist and an adventure and this and that. I love Six of Crows. I think it is one of the best YA works I read in a long time, and I just couldn't get with The Gilded Wolves, but I do think the cover is absolutely stunning. But it is very disappointing. The next is All Consuming Love, a book that gave you a book hangover. So I haven't had a book hangover in so long, and that's because I'm really good at kind of preventing the slump that comes with a hangover. But I am going to give this to Return of the King by J.R.R. Tolkien. This is book 3 in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. The reason this kind of gave me a hangover is because this book was the last novel that I was reading in my upper division Tolkien class, and honestly, going from The Hobbit straight into the Lord of the Rings trilogy and having to analyze it and do journals on it and whatever was so exhausting. But I think The Return of the King is also a phenomenal book. It was one of the first 5 stars that I had given this year, and like, I had given other books 5 stars, but it was like one of the first 3. To prevent the slump from happening, I read a bunch of the Avatar: The Last Airbender comics, and it just kind of kept me reading so that I don't fall into a slump. But I couldn't pick up a novel for a little bit, and it was kind of surprising because I hadn't had that happen in so long. The next question is Douchebag Boyfriend, a book that took you a while to get into but you ended up loving. This I'm going to give to The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. I read this book last year for my library, and I have all of like my annotated notes from it, and when I was talking about this in my spring wrap up from last year, oh my gosh, is the beginning of this book so info dumpy. I mean, just like look at the paperback. This is 540 pages, so it doesn't really look that big, but like when you're holding the chunk hardcover, it definitely feels huge. But I love The Bone Season. I have been saying that I need to reread this in order to continue with the series, and I definitely am going to, but I sound like a broken record in like every video that I mention this because Paige Mahoney is one of my favorite characters. What was his name? Warden? I think his name is Warden. Warren? No, Warren is from, what is that book series called? Shatter Me.
Hi, Editing Mel. I would just like to say that little book shake is the most like Middle Eastern thing I could have done, and I reminded myself of my grandparents for a split second, and that made me giggle. So I hope my little book shake made you giggle.
Warden, I really hope that's his name, but I love him, and I need to get into this. I need to finish it because it is going to be such an accomplishment, and I have The Pale Dreamer on my Kindle. So I have the entire series. I need to read it. I want to read it. I'm going to read it. But I love this book. And the final question is to tell your favorite slash least favorite tropes. My favorite, I guess, romance trope has to be enemies to lovers. Friends to lovers is cool too, but there's something special about enemies to lovers. There's so much more angst in it, and I think it's so much fun. And I think fake dating is one of my favorites, but like fake marriage or like fake dating at a wedding. Those are so much fun, and I have not read enough books about the fake dating trope, I guess you will. The Wedding Date by Jasmine Guillory comes to mind when I think of this. The Unhoneymooners comes to mind. What are some other fake dating ones? I think those are the only two that are coming to mind right now. And then obviously you guys saw from my romance tier ranking, the Enemies to Lovers in The Hating Game, which is staring at me on my shelf right now. I want to read you, I'm sorry. The Hating Game, fantastic, love that. But yeah, those are some of my favorite tropes. The people that I want to tag are Eleni and Megan, who I'm going to link in the description down below if they would like to do this tag, of course. I think it's a lot of fun to really quickly just talk about some fun tropes. When I was putting together this list, it took me some time to really think about books that I hadn't talked about in a bit, or books that would really fit certain prompts, because I'd like to say that my reading year so far has been pretty solid, and I kind of had to jump back to last year to see what books would fit into certain prompts better. But overall, I had a lot of fun with this, so thank you, Samantha, for tagging me in this. I happily accept your tag and raise you one. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on all of my socials, and until then, I will talk to you on Instagram.